to the full committee chair, Mr. DeFazio. I do want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge Ms. Nadia Milleron. She's the mother of Samia Stumo from my state of Massachusetts. By all accounts, her daughter was a bright and remarkable young woman. She was tragically killed in the Ethiopian 737 MAX air disaster. She's here with other members of victims' families, and we are indeed grateful for their willingness to come forward and to hold people accountable in memory of their loved ones. Mr. Elwell, so I have to just take some exception to your description of the FAA's willingness to engage with the community, local communities. You know where this is going, right? In your response to Ms. Craig and Ms. Davids, you talked about the way the FAA goes out and meets with local communities that are affected. And I have to tell you, I've been here 18 years. I've been looking for meetings probably for the last 12. We've had one community meeting in my area, Logan Airport, in Milton. Got 700 people there. There was a Celtics game that night, and we still got 700 people there. People are, my phone blew up. When you were saying how good the FAA was with community engagement, my phone blew up. I know that people in Milton and South Boston and Dorchester are throwing stuff at their TVs right now because of your statement. So that is totally false. That is totally false, and we need to do better, okay? I'm not gonna go further than that, but it's deplorable, your outreach. The only reason we had the one meeting that we had, I put a floor amendment on to pull $25 million from the last FAA authorization because you weren't doing outreach. And Mr. Schuster, who was the Republican chair, agreed with me. And then we had a meeting with the DOT secretary, myself, and Mr. Schuster. And for $25 million, me withdrawing my amendment to remove $25 million from the FAA budget, they gave me a meeting. And I'll do it again if that's what it takes, but it shouldn't. It shouldn't. By the way, there's some good news. There's some good news from the FAA. Look, I was one of the people that sponsored this health study because you're putting thousands and thousands of planes over the same houses in Milton, Massachusetts, and Hull, and South Boston, and Dorchester, and I think it's impacting the health of my constituents. So we're gonna do a study. We could do a meeting, a public meeting, and the FAA could come in and talk about their work with the Boston University School of Public Health. You know, Dr. Levy is running that. It's good news. You could talk about the fact that the FAA has funded, you didn't say this, but the FAA has funded the emissions study that we asked for pollution over these homes, and also the noise study. You've done that as well. That's good news. You could come into my district and talk to my constituents and explain about the good things you're trying to do. But that's not the history we've had with you. It's like pulling teeth to get the FAA to come in and talk to people. I have to describe the attitude of the Boston office of the FAA as, you know, they treat us with contempt. They really do. They really do. And so people are upset. You've got some good news to tell of the things you're trying to do. You just need to tell them. Come in and tell them. They yell at me. They'll probably, you know, the folks are pretty mad about what's going on. You know, you get thousands and thousands of flights over the same homes every single day, and that gets people upset. You've got a study in here to talk about dispersal. Let's talk about that. But, you know, we need to do better. Also, on behalf of my colleague, Ms. Eleanor Holmes Norton, who sits beside me, and she's also my co-chair of the Quiet Skies Caucus, we've been trying to get the new administrator for the FAA in to meet with the Quiet Skies Caucus for a while now. We sent a letter on August 5th, and we have not heard back. So we would really appreciate if they would deign to just attend with us and talk about these issues. But I think that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman. But we really got to do much better. And I think I speak on behalf of my other colleagues that represent metro areas that have airports in them, that we really got to do a much better job with community communication between us and the FAA, okay? Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Lynch. I recognize Representative Stauber for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I appreciate you holding this meeting.